welcoming you to the Swings and Roundabouts.
Yep.
If you don't know me, my name is Paul Duncan. I'm the business coach for Business Station, and I'm here with my friendly colleague, Kelly Chisholm, right? Very, very good in women in business and a very good asset to us. So I just want to welcome you to these sessions. We've just got these together so we can just discuss a couple of hot topics and just get a little bit of sort of interaction back out. So we catch up first Wednesday of every month, 6 o'clock. It's online. We also have a closed Facebook group as well. So if you haven't got access to the Facebook group, then just send an email out to myself or Kelly, Paul at businessstation.com.au, and I'll send you through the link, or just search Facebook for Business Swings and Roundabouts. Hop on there because the recording for this will be on there each month, but we'll also add some tools, resources and things in the file section, and anything that we talk about within these sections will pop in there as well, just to get you going and in the right direction. So let's move on.
Especially if you bring up a topic and we look to find a resource that we think might be able to help or something we know of, we'll always pop it in there, as opposed to rely on sending out more emails.
Yeah, definitely. So, and look, if you do have a hot topic that you want us to talk about, or you're struggling with something, then just pop it in the Facebook group or send us an email. I've had a bit of feedback from the last one around AI and technology. So I'm just going to put a little bit of stuff around that, and we'll have a discussion around that in one of the topics coming up. So because it is a hot topic for a lot of people, is trying to get their head around the AI and the technology, which is at this stage really, really excelling very, very quickly. So as business owners, we just want to keep on top of that. So so we'll talk about that going forward. But if you do have any hot topics, please share them with myself or Kelly, and we'll definitely bring them up and have a chat around that. But today, what we're going to talk about is self-leadership, okay, which is something that in business that we really, really need to be looking at. I just want to sort of start the conversation by why self-leadership, Kelly?
Yeah, I know. And I think that sometimes these topics become, people think of them as kind of, hey, Peter, good to have you join us. But sometimes these topics are touched upon as, kind of like, that the self-help kind of model. Mm-hmm. But, if there's any place that self-leadership is important, it's actually in business. And especially amongst solo entrepreneurs. So especially if you're running a business where you are the business, which a lot of, we're running with ourselves, or just, one, casual employees or something like that. The importance of having a real clarity around how you're leading yourself is really, really important. If you think about it, why do you think most small businesses fail? Now, I know you might say, well, they don't have the finances, but often you've anticipated having low finance for the first 6 months or so. So you know that it takes time to build a business. So we've got, they talk about the fact that 20% of businesses stop in the first year.
Yeah.
What do you think is the number one reason people say that they've stopped a business? Maybe whack something in the chat. Let's just have a bit of a go at that.
Mental struggle and motivation, or discipline, actually.
Actually, because of the actual business owner. Yeah, it's all the stuff. No plan, budget. It's actually the personal. It's the person. The reason most business stop is actually the person. The person can't keep going anymore. And when I look at it, that really does come down to this idea about self-leadership. You've got it. Someone's going to be leading you, and when you're in business on your own, it's you.
Yeah, definitely. And that all comes back to that accountability, to who you're accountable to. And if you're by yourself, then you're accountable to yourself, really. And that becomes very, very hard because you've got to be pushing yourself all the time.
And especially when you think about something like business, because business is not something that actually happens overnight.
Yeah.
Right. Self-discipline is my biggest struggle, exactly, because it doesn't happen overnight. I was talking to a business guy recently. It's actually a music business. And he's been in business for now 25 years. And he was saying he's only now getting to the point that he would suggest he's got enough of that regular work that he considers himself to be a business that's, kind of steadied and he's actually starting the growth phase. And I was like, how much self-discipline and leadership does it take to stay at something for 20 plus years? most of the time, the great thing about small business, you generally do love what you do. So that's actually a part of actually helping that. But I was thinking of the definition of leadership, and we will get to some really kind of hopefully some concrete learnings tonight, and not just talk, philosophy.
Yeah.
But just tell me, what do you reckon what would you reckon is an easy definition for leadership? Just pop it into the chat. What do you think of the words, single words that you think, just the word leadership, not even self yet, about? What do you think leadership is about? What do you say, Paul?
Look, I think it's when we talk about self-leadership, it comes back.
No, just go to leadership.
Leadership.
Just go leadership.
Oh, leadership, I think you've got to stand out. You've got to be a leader rather than a follower, right, in what you do, right? So, and that for me is all around things like, knowledge. The more knowledge you get, right, the more you can lead
Developing
yourself.
your culture, right?
Yeah, your culture, taking action in there, come back. Support's a really, really good one. So, getting that support from other people
ideas,
will help you.
with customers,
Yeah, so some
inspiring
really, really
yourself
good
and others
stuff
to
there.
fill your vision.
Yeah.
It's when they say about one, we've often used the word influence. If you're going to be a leader, you have to be able to influence others,
People
right?
around you.
And that is this concept of influencing people, because if you're actually leading and no one's being influenced, motivational influence, if no one's actually following, then you're, I always say you're just taking a walk, because if you're not, the idea of leadership is that someone's going with you. So if you flip that around and go, okay, what's self-leadership? The definition I've come up with is directing or influencing yourself towards tasks you're naturally motivated to complete, and managing yourself to complete necessary work when you're not motivated.
Okay.
It's actually the two things. It's actually just encouraging yourself when you actually are motivated and keeping yourself on track to achieve particular tasks. But actually, it is really important that you're managing yourself to complete tasks that you don't want to do.
Which I think is really, really important, especially when you're a sole person in your business as well. Which is
these are, to me, these are the issues for the entrepreneur.
Okay, yeah.
If you haven't got a clarity about what you should be doing, or what you find it easy to do, and just keeping yourself going. But also, if you're not disciplining yourself to do the things you don't want to do, then self-leadership, if you don't do that, your business will struggle. Now, how many people, I'm saying, a lot of people in small business, and I'd love to hear, maybe just put into the chat as well, the business that you're in. And I'd love you to put this sense of, what are you in? And out of 10, how much do you actually love the actual business, whether it be a product or a service? So tell us what business you're in, and then tell us, hey, how much do I love it? 1 to 10. 1 being, actually, I don't like it at all. 10 being, I absolutely love it. Just whack that in the chat. So virtual office management, that's what Sharon does, and she's a 10 out of 10. She loves it. So cool. Property, Peter, 10 out of 10. So good. Yeah. Roger, what do you do? Whack it in there for us. And Tony, Roger, business accounting. 10.
Yeah, so you're all up there.
This is the co-working. 10.
Right.
Joanna, she's not sure. She's saying a 6, which is just middle. Tony, you love the consulting, but you have to do other things to subsidise it. So and business counselling is 10. This is what I find, right? Small business people, we generally love the product or service. So this is the stuff we find it easier to, but we've got to manage our time on that, because we will put 100% of our time into that. And the thing many of us don't want to do is the systems that we've got to build,
processes.
Your processes, calling new business, following up to build. We don't love that, and so this is the area of self-leadership, people, which is critical, because you've got to be managing yourself to do the things you don't want to do. Yeah. That's what a coach does. That's what someone else usually does. But
then when you take it to a level where you've got a team, you've got people within it as well, they actually look up for you for leadership as well.
Yeah.
Right. So without self-leadership, you can't actually put that down the line. So it's important. Why do we need to really lead ourselves in that? Do you think? What's the benefits of having that self-leadership?
Well, I go health.
Okay. Yeah. Health is really, really important.
Health is one critical thing. A lot of people either burn out in business. I talked to a woman today. We would have heard that one today, who said for the last 6 months she struggled to be motivated because she just works so hard for a period of time that she ends up falling out the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's because you're not working to a plan.
Mhm.
You're not managing yourself, and it actually does lead to these, going through these dips. And in business, you actually almost can't afford to. You've almost got to try to hold a bit, I think operate at your 70% and hold a steady line, because business generally grows from consistency
Okay.
than
Yeah.
dropping out the bottom. So I think it's
Makes sense.
mastery. Another reason for self-leadership is to become really a master at what you do. Staying on task with not just doing, but learning about what you should be doing, staying on the front foot with new developments, and not.
Which makes it
Actually,
easy when you
just
have
what
a
you
passion about what you do as well.
Yeah, it does. But
Yeah.
also, I'd say another thing is that you've got growth focus. A lot of businesses I talk to, people always telling me about how much their current businesses love them,
Mhm.
and I'm like, current businesses are never going to be enough.
Mhm.
You got new markets, and that's So Tony's talking about this idea is you,
Yeah.
and people buy you, don't they?
They certainly do. I think, a good, very, very good comment there from Tony is that people do buy from people, they don't buy from businesses.
Yeah.
So really, really important to have that, that leadership within it as well,
And
which
growing.
then portrays out to your wider audience.
Because Roger, what's yours? Yours accounting is your background, is your business, isn't it? You were saying accounting.
Yeah.
And you've got you can flick yourself on for a minute, Roger, if you like to, or you can flick your mind.
Okay.
It's nice to talk to.
There you go.
So I help businesses improve their value, profit, and cash flow by a range of processes. I don't prepare accounts, and I don't do tax returns. I just pick it up from a couple of years of financials, look through them, and then there's a process called the balanced scorecard of looking at a business from 4 perspectives of finances, customers, systems, and innovation.
So it's a lot of it is a systems kind of support for people to analyse where they've got gaps happening in their business. So for you, I guess the whole idea about staying on top of the current, changes and developments is really, really critical, because it's, the expectations. I'm thinking one of the biggest changes has been the last 10 years has been about risk management.
Yeah, well, definitely. It's a big topic at the moment, is that data security and risk management, and, which, when you look at for your customers and your clients, that's what they're looking at, how you're managing that risk and reducing the risk within your business, and then people gravitate to that. So.
Because if you have a violation in that area, Roger, I guess that's when you see the big hole there. People often don't anticipate it's such a gap for them.
Yeah, well, the world just happens, doesn't it? So you can only predict certain things. It's knowing what processes are key to your business and making sure you've got consistency in those processes. That'll lead to profits and cash flow eventually. But too many businesses don't get their process consistent, so they have too much variation. So there's a lot of waste.
And I think these are, when you're talking, that the reason I picked up that with Roger is that my experience would say this is the area of self-leadership that, remember I said at the very beginning, it's managing, maybe turn off Roger so we don't get feedback. If that we've got to discipline ourselves to the things that we love to do, and we have to manage these areas that we don't want to do. And many of them, I think, do relate to systems that people don't really want to do. And Jayesh, I'd be saying to you, when you're in business and you're saying, managing yourself and your fatigue, one of the big things is, not getting so excited about your product or your service that you forget that you're actually running a business. And that's what will end up being undoing you, not the passion you have, So this is a discipline side, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Really,
and Tony said it's important to remember that you are your business' greatest asset, so you need to look after yourself as well, which is a really, really good point.
So I'm going like this idea of self-leadership is got to be an intentional thing, and I just thought there's a few thoughts that I had that these to make this idea about healthy and keeping yourself healthy. And one thing I've got down that I wrote down is you've got to speak honestly to yourself about your business. I would suggest there's a lot of people in business who do not speak honestly. So when you're in a conversation and it's either catastrophizing or else it's almost acting like everything's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about punishing yourself, but I think you actually have to be honest about your pain points and not wait till you're in crisis. A lot of people come to us as business coaches when they're in crisis. That's when they want to speak. And I think a lot of that becomes there's not a lot of honest reflection along the road about how is my business progressing. And, I'd love to know that you guys could all write down, and maybe you could put that to the chat column now. What's the 2 areas of your business that need attention, that you don't particularly plan potential pitfalls? And what would they be, Jayesh? Even go a little bit deeper. Say to me, what are the 2 areas that you think are potential problems for you that you don't want to think about maybe, but you just think about in your business you really do need to address? If you're being honest with yourself, where are the areas that you're falling short? Oh, sorry, Jayesh, go with it. Yeah, tell me the 2 areas that you think, I really need to do something about this in my business because it is an area that I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Digital comes up a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you're talking about your digital presence or your digital capacities, like
your understanding.
Management, numbers. Noel, that is so true. We regularly see people and maybe Roger does too, but every time we get into a workshop with people and we say, okay, let's talk numbers for your business, people they're not really all over them, whether it be their KPIs or their finances or what are their success targets for their marketing campaigns.
That was showed in we held that workshop today, and was I ran a little bit of a PowerPoint around the understanding your numbers, and the people in the room, they could then see that little bit of the uplift of understanding a few things in their business. So really, really important around that.
Great, Peter. You said about when you said staffing and over helping. Can you just turn yourself on for a second and explain what you were thinking about with that?
So staffing and over helping, what does that mean?
Okay, so staffing, I don't have the right people in the right positions throughout the business, so I require additional staffing, and I'm coming in and making up the gap, which then is taking me away from doing the work that I should be doing, and are far more able and capable of doing that, although I can do the other things. So basically what I do is I stop the squeal, but there's a lot of other things that they will never squeal at you in business, but they're very important, and I don't necessarily do a lot of those.
And this is where that's fantastic. See, this is where I think it is really important to be honest with yourself. And I know that sometimes you think about it most often when you're lamenting, but a self-leadership means have to get onto the front foot with it and think, I've got to actually think about how we're going to try to solve some of this one step at a time. You can't turn over all your staff.
No, that's right.
So you have to kind of think, what am I actually going to think about? And Roger was saying that idea, but as your business grows, people often are not really anticipating or building systems around the growth. So that's when we can go backwards very quickly. I saw that Tony said he became hands-on
for 2 years. He couldn't get staff for 2 years, so it's got to affect your business going forward as well.
So I'd love to think that we could do a couple of sessions where it may be even with some little groups where we actually talk honestly about what are the things in business, because if you don't talk about this, and if Peter then doesn't come up with what am I going to do to strategize here, because you'll be in the same position in a year and 2 years time. And at some point we get burned. And
look, there is challenges out there, around staffing, school staffing, and a whole lot, which, as Tony was saying, it pulled his away from his business, right? On, you know, and as Peter was saying, you know, you start doing that, it pulls you away from things that you should be doing
I know.
as well. So, you know,
I know.
it's a really, really important thing to get on top of, really.
And there's different stages of maturity of your business, and it's like if you don't set up systems around them. So this is where it's being honest.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think if you want to lead yourself, you've got to be honest and not just think it's all about just the next growth strategy. It's actually looking, what are the pitfalls going on here in my business? Where am I leaking? Where am I not preparing for the future?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the second thought I had though is that prioritizing your values and your long-term goals over the immediate gratification.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people in business are always talking about this month's sales, or, you know,
So
this
instant
immediate, what's
gratification,
making me feel good about myself in my business, instead of going like, you know what, it's more about, are you on track with a value and a plan that you've got in place?
Mm-hmm.
And being able to say to yourself, it may not be producing something right now, but this, I know where I'm going, and this is taking steps towards it. So it may be that Peter's business looks like it goes backwards.
Yeah, it's just.
But
yeah.
the immediate gratification of thinking you're succeeding just because of some immediate growth is not really
The long term,
Well, I see businesses go down very quickly, and yet they could have told me 6 months ago they had their biggest month ever.
Yeah, yeah.
So it really is thinking, and I don't know how many people, maybe you can just show of hands here, although I can't see a couple of the people on board, so maybe just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. How many people here do have a business plan that they work to? So Noelle has one. Sharon has one.
Yeah, sales. Value properties.
JS, do you have a plan that you work to? Tony does.
Okay. Yes.
JS does.
Yeah, it's important to have that plan, isn't it? That
Sorry,
little
can't
bit
find
of-
the thumb. That's okay. Tony said he did. Peter, do you have a plan? Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or a, because to me, that's really where you get your gratification from. You know,
I do have a plan, but I don't work it well, and I don't take a lot of notice of it, and it's always remained the same. But it's not a living, breathing document.
okay.
Yeah.
And I love that, but when you say that, because I think many people are exactly there, and it's not live, and then it's quite difficult to, because I'm thinking that's what's got to be guiding you, not this month's figures.
Yeah, the bigger picture. The bigger picture stuff.
Those month's figures may be really some indicators. It's not like I'm ignoring them, but like you've got a plan for a reason, and yet it's hard to stay on it because we get, this is this idea of self-leadership, we get distracted. Okay, so I go, and if you've got really important values, you've been trying hard to stick to it. Yeah, I know, but you know, if you've got really potent values, you know, don't compromise them for a short-term win. You know, if that client, if the seeming need of the environment starts driving your business in a certain direction, which is completely off your plan, you either sit down and take really good stock of it, or you say this is a distraction. I remember an example. I was running a demolition business, which is, I grew up in small business, and we had a business, and the market started to change in terms of heritage buildings not being demolished anymore. And my passion wasn't really demolition; mine was architectural salvage. So suddenly, could not get, the products were no longer there because we were no longer demolishing houses that we got them from.
Okay, yeah, so environment changed really.
So environment changed. So here's the choice I have. Either I can say, well, we're still making good money, right? But I was really not, good. I could not, it wasn't really what we wanted. So in the end, what I did was decrease the number of demolitions we're doing, and I started to travel to Sydney and Melbourne and the East Coast, and I started to buy those architectural salvage pieces and just bring them back to Perth. Eventually, I was bringing timbers back, and I set up a mill, and we started to mill floorboards and lining boards, and so it was that.
So you diversified your business model slightly.
I changed my sources because at the end of it, you've got to say it's immediate gratification. I was still getting money, but it was never going to sustain me.
Yeah, long-term goals. Yeah.
So anyway, that would be the two. Speak honestly to yourself. Prioritize your plan and over any of your immediate gratification. And the third thing is, you can't. It's really hard to lead yourself it can't happen by yourself. You actually need
help.
you actually need people around
Outside,
you. You know,
yeah.
there's that team of 5. You know, that kind of idea. Like, and I think if most people are operating completely alone, you really do get.
Mentors are the unsung heroes. Yep, I agree with that, definitely.
Yes,
So
you need people outside yourself. I actually quite like. I don't know if you guys have all heard the Johari window. Have you heard the Johari window concept?
what's that concept?
I think if you once you know it, it's so invaluable. So if you think about it as being 4 panes of a, I don't know if I can put up on the board, 4 panes. I should have put it up on my screen actually. Didn't think about it.
Or maybe share it in the group.
I'll put it in the group. Okay, I'll put it up on the Facebook page. But if you think about it as a window with 4 panes, one of those panes is what's called the open window. That's what you know about yourself and everyone else knows about you. Okay? And that's easy. And that's what most of us are operating from a lot. So it's the biggest window, the biggest pane. The second pane is what's called the hidden window or the hidden pane. That's what other people know about you, but you don't know about yourself. Right? And there's a few things like that, isn't there? Then there's the secret pane, which is what you know, but other people don't know. Right?
Okay.
The stuff you hide away, your secrets. And then the 4th pane is what you don't know and no one else does because it's completely unexplored. You know, if you don't have mentors, that hidden pane, what you don't know about yourself, can stay a blind spot. We call them blind spots, right?
Yep.
For years. And it could be you are just too short-tempered with customers. You don't think it. I spoke to someone in the last week who other people would be considered to be the rudest person they've ever known. In fact, the client recently said, "You're the rudest man I've ever met."
Wow.
And he was completely flabbergasted. He thought he was so reasonable.
Yeah.
He really did. He was being, and I said to him, you know, the tragedy is he's 40 years old. I said, have you never let a business person in to talk with you?
Yeah.
Because I said, I think you are extremely rude.
Okay.
In terms of the way you come across. I don't think it's your motivation at all. But, you know, if he'd had other people around him who he did trust and who he let in, someone would have told him that a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine how many customers he's lost, I can tell you.
Yeah. So it's one of those panes in that window that he's not addressing, really, isn't
It's
it?
the hidden one.
That perceived.
And then let me just tell you, the other one is the
perception out
secret one. The one you hide from everyone else is just as dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you end up having stuff that you don't, whereas you have this coach mentors around you, they're telling you things that you won't see, but you're telling them things that you don't want to share.
Yeah.
Right? So I think they're 3 things that'll really help you in business is to be honest with yourself and then to make a plan. Number 2, to prioritize your planning over immediate gratification. And number 3, to don't try and lead by yourself.
Fair enough. Then.
Have a couple of people around you because you can't hide. You don't want to keep hiding or keeping secrets, and you don't want things to be hidden from you. What's the best practice for the secret pane? The secret, you mean the secret, which is the one you hide yourself, or the unknown pane?
The secret one, I take it.
The secret one is that's where you got to have a mentor that you trust too.
Is it okay if I unmute?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I've unmuted you
Yes,
now.
cool. Yeah, like identifying what you don't want to, is that kind of the being honest with yourself part?
Yes, it is.
You know, so the secret in the, okay, right. So identifying that and then doing what with it once you've identified
Talking
it.
to one of those mentors about it so you can say, I'm actually privately being driven by this incredible fear, or else fear of failure, or else I completely lie about the numbers because I feel like my whole success is wrapped up in business. And then one day you're just gone and no one sees you again. Or you're carrying far too much of everyone else's load, like might be Peter's, and he says, "Oh, we need to talk to someone about this because in the end I can't keep this going." So this secret pain is not sustainable, guys. And if you think about how big some of those pains get, and most of us are not exploring the unknown, which is really a great thing to do with mentor. What do I don't even know I'm great at?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know, so this is where. So anyway, they were my three things about self-leadership. What I have got here is that I'm going to put up there, guys, is a bit of a self-leadership plan template, which I'll quickly show it to you because, gosh, our time's got away from us. How does that happen?
It does. Always gets away.
I'm sharing this with you, actually online. No, I'm not. I forgot to go to share on our thing there.
I can share it if you want.
Can you share that for me?
Okay.
And these are some, I think this is, sometimes we talk, I'm going to share this with you. It's a bit of a plan which will lead you through some steps, which is step one, I just go to you, talk about, what reasons you have for running your business. Remind yourself why you're in business, right? I think that's a really good first point. Number two, the things that cause you unreasonable levels of stress. Everyone's different. I can tell you not everyone has unreasonable levels of stress around money. Not everyone does. Some people you go, that's my pain point. Other people, it's disagreements with customers. Other people, it's instability about the context of what they work in, or so whatever it is. Okay. Number three, I would say, what's your warning points? What are the things that happen to you that I'm getting to this point where I'm not coping, right? Then number four, what are the positive things you can do to maintain your well-being? What makes you feel much better? Of course, many people, this is where exercise comes in and it never becomes part of the plan unless you write it down. Mm-hmm. It could be going out. It could be doing some things. It could be spending money within limits. Number five, what things could you do for others that give you a sense of well-being?
Okay.
And then who do you have? Who are your supporters? Number six.
Yeah. So you share this on
I'm going to share this.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
I'm going to share this because then on the right-hand column, which is your action column, which if we go to that, can we go to the top again?
We will.
Go up to page 1. This is when you choose 3 or 4 priorities just for the rest of 2023. You don't overdo this.
Okay.
But this is this self-leadership, like, okay, out of all of those things, which are the things that I feel I really do want to address about myself? And I do these things each year. I just have 3 things. But, I've got into exercise now 3 years. I do it. I have 3 times a week at Pilates every week, and 3 times a week I walk.
Okay.
And I do it. I am
pretty disciplined.
I am completely disciplined about it. And I was not 3 years ago. I was not disciplined about it. I can't even remember the last time I had an intentional fitness plan. But you know what? I just said I'm going to do it because it was causing me. I was having back pain. It wasn't out of a great motive in many ways. It was actually out of physical distress. But
okay.
The great thing is I'm going so much better. So anyway, we've gone a bit over time, which I didn't want to do.
Okay. So we'll share that on the Facebook group. So if you're looking for that that spreadsheet, just go to the Facebook group. You can download that. But encourage that. That's a good.
It's a really good tool, guys. Because and again, if you can do this every 6 months, this is the stuff about keeping you well.
And it's the accountability.
And accountability because you actually say, I'm going to do this. And like, I feel really great that actually it's 3.5 years later, I can say I do it.
Okay.
So you honestly need some tools to keep you accountable because you have to lead yourself. No one else is doing this for you.
Yeah.
Facebook group. The Facebook group's called Business Swings and Roundabouts, and we'll send a link to you guys as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's called Business Swings and Roundabouts. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So finishing up, final tips. Final tips that these guys can take away a little bit. So.
Well, I think we might do some run up. I think main thing I always think is you've got to develop a couple of tools for yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good tool. That's a good plan.
And the tool can't just be plans. It's got to ask yourself some questions. That's why I have those questions there. Because most of the time we only do out of what we know. Sometimes this challenges what we don't yet know about ourselves. Because you have to think, gosh, what are my warning signs?
Yeah.
You may not be conscious of them. Other people might say you become extremely short-tempered, you withdraw, you retreat. And if someone says that to you and you've recognised it as a sign, you need to do something about it. So I'd say develop some tools, develop language around it, and then that enables you to be honest.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, well, we'll wrap it up there. We've gone a little bit. Sharon says I've got time in my diary, self-care exercise. So, you know, which is a really, really important part is to, you know, is to have that exercise, have that little bit of the away from your business, because this, we talk about our health is really, really important in our business. We get sometimes stressed in our business. So that little bit of the time away is really, really important as well. But look, guys, thanks for joining us. You know, if you do need anything, please reach out to Kelly and myself. Hopefully you've got some good insights around this. Get onto the Facebook group, share anything in there, download anything that you really need in there. If you do come across anybody, just let them know that this is happening. We just want to get the word out there that we are catching up first Wednesday of every month, 6 o'clock. Have a little bit of a discussion around some topics. But look, just want to thank you for spending the time with Kelly and myself. I really, really appreciate it, you know, from the bottom of our heart. And look, take care. Have a fantastic...
Let me just tell you what, we have got one great offer that I think is a great one, and that's our Jumpstart program.
Okay.
Which is just a 12-week program that is a group online, but that's the one that you do that is worked out to be, it only works out to be, is $199 for the month, which is 4 sessions in that month.
Yeah, so it's a 12-week program.
So it works out to be up $50 each time.
Yeah,
so
$50 a week.
If you're thinking I actually do need some of this, then that is one way to do it. And we run, you know, relatively, we can run small groups, so you get a chance to chat.
So the QR code's there if you just want to scan that, if you've got your mobile there, or just reach out to us. But what I'll do is I will put that QR code on the Facebook group as well.
Yeah.
If you do miss it, just download that. There's all the information and anything that you really need in there. And there's also a link if you want to catch up and have a chat around it as well. There might be a few things that you need on a specific basis, but look, it's I'm you know, Business Station are getting some really, really good results from running these programs. They're very specific around, we call it Jumpstart because we want to just really, really jumpstart your business in the right direction. So
it's so nice to spend some time, and I love the fact of having a bit of a chat. So when you come, always be prepared to, you know, have a chat, put some stuff in our chat line. Love you to put some messages to us now. We're going to check them out before we leave.
Yep.
And we'll see you next month when we're going to talk about.
So the next topic, I'm going to be talking about how to raise your prices without losing any customers, which is you know, I had a bit of feedback for people in business to say, look, costs are going up, you know, things are, you know, margins and our profits are dropping. I really, really need to increase my prices, but have that little bit of a fear on how it's going to affect my business. So I'm going to discuss that next month, 5th of July, Wednesday. Get on board if you're thinking of raising your prices and you know, you don't know how to do that. That'll be a good topic next month. But thanks for that, Kelly.
Really great.
Thanks for you guys for joining us today and spending a little bit of time with us, and looking forward to catching up next month. Take care and be safe.
See you soon. Right.